listening to the official PlayStation Magazine podcast.
Woohoo! Join the celebration.
What's going on?
We're celebrating. Hello and welcome to another extra special official PlayStation Magazine podcast where we are all celebrating. Not this month celebrating Leon turning years old as we were last month. This time we're commemorating an equally significant occasion, the OPM podcast turning 50. Hooray!
Yeah.
I don't know if Meeks is boom, boom, oi. Is that the right song? Anyway, over the next hour, we'll be reminiscing on our best and worst moments in the booth. That was comfortably one of the worst, as well as temporarily bringing back some segments you thought were gone for good. So without further ado, let's get this pie started with more questionable singing. I'm editor Ben Wilson. Joining me for tears of laughter, or maybe just tears today, are associate editor Leon Hurley.
Hello.
Deputy editor Joel Gregory.
Hello.
Acting news editor Dave Meekwam.
I'm just thinking we should all have done very slightly different pitches when we said, oh, it should have been hello, hello,
hello.
hello.
Acting news editor Dave Meekwam.
Hello.
And staff writer Phil Ivanyuk.
Hello.
For classic purposes, I should have mispronounced your names again, like I used to, but sadly not. We did a lot of talking about PS4 last month, so this month we're not going to do so much. But we should say that PS4 issue of the magazine, a PS4 pre-order special, goes on sale on the 2nd of August. It is issue number 87, so please do check that out. It's really good. Joel's written 14 lovely pages on PlayStation 4 and the games featured on it in that issue, so do check it out. It is brilliant. Now we're going to talk about podcast things. So yeah, it is our 50th birthday. We've done 50 episodes of these BASTARD things. I think we've enjoyed most of them. And what I wanted to kick off with some of you, the readers' favourite memories via Robo Flame Wars. So for those who haven't heard the last 49 episodes, what we do is we ask you a topical question, you give us answers, and instead of playing them or speaking them, we get robots to talk them instead. Here are your favourite podcast memories via Robo Flame Wars.
It's time for Robo Flame Wars.
To create a classic podcast memory, you need to give Meeks some strong lager about 30 minutes before you record the podcast.
The one where Leon tried to explain Linux to everybody.
The classic 80s TV show podcast was Amazeballs.
The one when Matt Elliott recalled the time when he torques off a keyboard in a fit of rage.
The Name That Tune jingle. Classic.
The Hong Kong goodie bags. I still have no idea what was going on to this day.
I don't remember Matt Elliott jerking off onto a keyboard. I
think it was the one where he said he broke the keys off a keyboard in rage, and you smashed a.
I smashed a couple of pads. Yeah.
I think it was you. Didn't you pull the keys off keyboard in rage at Football Manager?
Pulled the keys off a keyboard.
No, I've never done that.
Maybe it was Matt.
Yeah,
I've never pulled keys off a keyboard.
What was your thing? Did you bite a pad?
No, that was Matt bit the aerial lead on his TV and gave himself an electric shock.
That was a classic. What are each of your favourite podcast moments? Phil, you go first. You can sing it if you want.
I'd rather not. We'll get
I
to
don't know
that
if
in a
you
bit.
can, actually.
I enjoyed the moment where we forced Louise to drink tequila live on air. That was
I forgot about that.
She handled it with grace and dignity.
That was like reader voted.
Yeah.
We should start that up
she
again.
She had no choice in it. That was the thing about it. But she also just dealt with it like an absolute trooper and just maintained.
Yeah, what a hardship that must be, drinking quite nice tequila. Oh, terrible.
She complained about
what a thing to do.
Actually, I've just remembered, meanwale, Meeks ate like a lime and a half during that.
Yeah, he wasn't made to do that.
No, that wasn't a reader thing.
That was not part of the day.
I just like lime.
And he went a bit. Did he go a bit mad? Probably.
Almost.
No more so than usual.
Yeah, I think it was the sugar in the lime. I don't know.
Leon, your favourite podcast memory? Do you have any favourite podcast memories? Is there any parts of the podcast you've ever enjoyed?
Well, if you're going to be like that about it. I quite like the Past Baskets one.
Past Baskets. That was the Hong Kong one, yes.
I remember getting recognised on a press trip once, and someone said where I was from, and somebody went mad about the podcast and how much they liked it, and they knew it all back.
Didn't they kind of like it because we used to abuse you with a particular segment, which is coming back later
podcast
on.
Overall.
Spoilers.
The Past Baskets was brilliant. Yeah, because the Hong Kong one we should have on file. I should be able to tell you what episodes these were. I can't. But who went to Hong Kong? Was it you, Joel?
I did. Yeah.
Brought back a mystery bag of sweets.
Yeah.
Which
some were sweets. Some were sweets. Some were like tarantula legs.
Things like that. Pickled olives or something.
Yeah,
we ate them live on air, and Louise came out of the line. I can't remember if it was on podcast or later where she went Did you just try and make me eat pascats? Because they were biscuits that
stink
smelled
of
of
urine,
urine.
yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
good.
That was quite a famous moment. Joel, what's your favourite overall podcast memory?
I got to go with the old 80s show, episode 26?
25, the classic one.
And also when Phil forgot the words to Do They Know It's Christmas.
That was
even
brilliant.
Even though he had them written down in front of him.
I don't know how anyone. I know you weren't alive then, but I still don't know how anyone to this day doesn't know the words to Do They Know.
They
It's
were
Christmas.
also
It's
written on the
most-
script as
yeah.
well.
They were. I mean, in my defence, everyone knows the words to the chorus of that song, but not the verse.
But you
But
had
they
them
were written down.
But
And
I
in
didn't
our
know- I
world
didn't know
of
the melody.
plenty, you can spread a
And I was
smile of-
trying to
a smile of
sabotage
joy.
it, and even failed
you,
at that.
You say that. I don't think you were.
Well, me and Louise made a little pact to just sort of mouth
Sabotage
out the words.
it.
And
We
then-
made a pact to sabotage it together.
And we
Was it your first
couldn't even
podcast?
do that.
It was
right?
like my second podcast.
Second
It was
podcast.
deep end stuff.
Yeah.
Dear me.
Next time you have to swim to the bottom of the pool and grab a brick.
Oh God.
Do you remember? Did everyone else have to do that? in
Yeah,
schools?
yeah.
That was
Yes,
really weird.
that was
I've never had to
vindictive.
use that life skill again. Weirdly,
No.
collecting
No,
bricks from the
if
bottom
I
of
ever
pools
drop a
of
brick
water.
into some water, I'll probably go, I'll just leave that.
Yeah.
I'd get another brick, I reckon.
Did anyone do the one where you had to tie knots in the end of your pajamas?
Yes,
and turn into a
absolutely.
flotation aid?
And not a day goes by. when I
Even
don't
even
do
like
that now.
5 or 6, I remember thinking like, well, this is not going to be much use in a rough sea.
Yeah, I didn't see anyone do that in Titanic.
No.
Maybe
Dave?
they should have.
Maybe they should.
Dave, don't get Dave on started on Titanic. It is not a film that tugs at his emotions.
I was
at
going
all.
to say the 80s episode, but I really, now that I recall it, I really enjoyed Phil mangling the Christmas song.
You weren't even on the
That's
80s one.
all
That is
about
an amazing choice.
Yeah, just I remember distinctly listening to it on one sunny afternoon in Edinburgh, just walking down the street and laughing.
That is probably my favourite one. I think we all just went a bit mad, and that was the beauty of it.
It was a good one.
You're not talking about, oh God, what was the old, was it You've Been Framed? No, not You've
Been
Been Framed.
Going for Gold.
The old thing with the
Oh,
guy,
the-
Matthew
Kelly.
Kelly.
Yeah, what was that show where people had to do things?
Yeah, the dare.
Where
Dare,
people had to
the-
do
What?
things.
You know, like the
Going Live. No, not Going Live. My God,
it was on
Going Live was good as
ITV.
well. You bet.
You bet.
That's
You
the
bet.
one.
Boom.
Yeah.
They had to do things.
You
Yeah,
bet.
don't fret, get set.
Have you
Are
ever
you
seen a
ready?
TV
You know
show
that thing with the
do
guy,
things?
they had to
It's
do
good.
things?
Did you not know what You Bet is, Phil?
Yeah, and I
I
remember
used to
Matthew
love
Kelly,
You
but
Bet.
I don't really remember.
It'd
the
be like,
format.
I bet
It
that
was-
Phil Valiant
does
can
things.
do the entirety of Do They Know It's Christmas without looking at a lyric sheet. And then you'd have to, like the audience, there'd be 100 people in the audience, and they each have to choose whether you could do it or not.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
And if
I
you
forgot
got
about
it
the
wrong,
voting, yeah.
you'd have to do a forfeit.
That rings a bell.
Oh,
now.
yeah.
That was a good show.
Wow, that was a good
It's a
show.
good show. Based upon a German show called, I don't know,
Das Bet.
That's bet.
Plain bet.
Yeah. All right. Any podcast moments you'd like to have back? Anything you've done on air that you wish you hadn't?
Like singing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's Christmas time. and
that's
getting it
literally
wrong.
my
I'm going to
choice.
say apparently, even though I'm sure I didn't say it, but this is wrong. Hung
Is this
around my
your
neck and
proclaiming
absolute infamy
Resident-
that Resident Evil 6 is the best looking game in PS3.
I don't think
I
you-
never said
I don't
that.
think you said that on the podcast. I think you tweeted it.
Ben does have a history of
Well, I
making
think-
things up.
I think-
whatever.
I think
you
I said
tweeted
it.
I remember
think-
him tweeting it.
I think the conversation came up in a podcast, and I said it looked better than Watch Dogs,
We-
and then everyone
Watch
since
Dogs didn't
that
exist
day,
then.
That's
No,
still
Watch
Watch
mental.
Dogs did not
Back in the
exist.
day.
Still,
You said
it
it better than
was.
Sleeping Dogs.
Sleeping Dogs. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
We
Sleeping
were doing
Dogs.
what we've been playing at the moment, and which is also coming back for this podcast later on. Sorry for another spoiler. And you said something along the lines of Resident Evil 6, which is like the best looking game on
I did
PlayStation.
never- but that is now the perceived what I said. I said it looked better than.
It's
I
on
think,
record
I
somewhere.
think you tweeted that it was the best game on PlayStation.
I definitely didn't tweet
because
that.
that's when
did
I
not
told
tweet
Ben was the next morning when I'd seen it on Twitter that you've been playing it and said it was the best
I
game
see a
on
lot of guff on
PlayStation.
Twitter.
Not a bad looking game, but yeah, not the best.
I never said it was.
I'd like to take back that on my second or third podcast ever here, I revealed the ending of Red Dead to a room full of people and listeners who hadn't played it yet.
That's what I always get blamed for.
I
spoiling
didn't
Red Dead.
actually.
That's way
must
worse.
have spoiled it twice.
I didn't say explicitly what happened, but it wasn't difficult to figure it out from what I did say. Thankfully, it got cut from.
So
the
he
final.
doesn't live.
It got cut from the final edit, but the rest of the table were not pleased.
I'd like to take that back. Oh, look, I've mispronounced that as well. The many mispronounced intros that led to Dave calling me One Take Wilson. 'Cause I did so many takes of the intro paragraphs.
And
That's
my
always fun.
nodding dog head.
Nodding dog head at the endings. Yeah, that's always fun. All right, so we've talked about the birthday of the podcast. Just for you all each individually to celebrate this occasion, tell us about your best and worth
Again.
and worth birthday experiences. Phil, what is your best and worst ever birthday?
Oh, I don't know. Well, worst is certainly when I was, I think, turning 10, and I was in a car park on the way to the toy shop with my mum. It's like kid's birthday thing to do, isn't it? And then you like pick out whatever toy you want.
Sounds
lovely,
delightful.
really like idyllic. And this old man came up to me in the car park,
Oh, no.
swore at me, just like showed me teeth, and was just like, "What does that mean to you?" And I mean, that's a confusing sequence of events for anyone. And as a kid,
Did he
I
then
just sort of,
open his jacket?
I just sort of stared at him, and then he said it. "What does this mean to you?" Said that again.
Now
And then
touch it.
My mum, equally incredulous, just sort of looked at him, and then he sort of looked really confused.
Did
And
he then say, "It's Christmas time, there's no need to be afraid"?
And then my mum was just like, "I don't think he did that." And I was like, "No, I didn't do that." And he looked confused and he walked off, and it really ruined the vibe of like going around the toy shop and looking for a toy.
Well, now I just feel really sad. I don't know if I can continue with the podcast.
Well, there was a time when I just
Wait,
got
was
a
that your
balloon.
best birthday moment or worst? I can't remember.
And then the balloon just drifted away, and then it just
And you had Jason.
when I got an ice cream, and then the ice cream just fell on the floor, and I just
And
stared
you
at it.
opened the box with the puppy. And
So,
the puppy was dead.
on a
Yeah.
happier note, what was your best birthday ever?
I genuinely don't know.
You've never had a happy birthday.
I don't tend to like them. The best birthdays are the ones that go undetected, as a rule.
Surely this year's has got to count. We ruined your no drinking pact for the.
Oh, we did.
Giving up drink for about 6 months.
That
You
was
fell
all
off the
right.
wagon
Through
with
peer
that
pressure, we made you
Spectacular.
get loads of
Quite a lot
shots.
of money on a shot that you then turned down. And
Joel
gave to
really
Joel.
enjoyed
Joel, I
it,
think,
though.
enjoyed it.
It was a nice
And about
shot.
5 minutes later, you were like, "Oh, yeah, I've had 3 Jaeger bombs now." Brilliant. Thanks, Phil.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that was
That
it.
was
It
like
a nice
4
evening.
months of not drinking, and then ever since then, it's just been. That's
Yeah.
it. It's gone.
You're making up for the 4 months now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Leon?
I just like a genuine.
Was it the one where they invented the wheel?
Is it one where you met Florence Nightingale?
I had a good one once.
The one where you got where we gave you an amazing watch, that was just all right. That was sort of middle of the road.
That was all right.
And the worst? Oh God, what be a frown?
I had a weird one at Glastonbury years ago where for some reason I didn't tell anyone it was my birthday, and I spent most of Sunday just sort of wandering around and no one knew it was my birthday.
Just really forlornly to strangers just going, "It's my birthday." Excuse me, nothing.
No, I don't know why. I don't know why. I didn't tell anyone. They just ended
I
up.
was really annoyed that everyone didn't know it was my birthday, even though I didn't tell them about it. That's how.
No,
that
it's my
sentence sounded.
it was my own fault.
Funny things happen at Glastonbury. It's a
Makes-
different kind of logic.
Best or worst?
Either. But probably both will be. They will be the same thing for you. It will be like the morning was the best and the afternoon was
It's
the
a bit of a
worst.
cheat. The worst one, I guess, was the day of your birth because you don't get any presents.
Oh,
You
What
get the
about
present
life?
of life.
The
Yeah.
present of life. I want actual things I can unwrap.
you do get presents as well.
Could
You've got
unwrap the
people-
umbilical
You're
cord.
too
from
young
somewhere.
for
Too
it.
young.
So you sort
I
of
bet
the
your family
amniotic
got sent
sac,
lots of
that's kind of
presents, like,
unwrapped
and
in
cards.
a way.
I reckon that's the day you get most presents because think all the clothes that have been bought for you,
Yeah.
all the toys, the crib, all of that.
As he
stuff.
just said, you're not old enough to recognise it. That's
Then
what
you're
No, but
ripped from the
usually you're
comfort
not
of the
sober
womb.
enough these days. So.
And my best was probably my last birthday. Actually, it was really good. I got a boat on Joel's recommendation. I didn't buy a boat. I rented a small plastic
Oh, is
boat
that the one
from.
that says Activision on the side?
Yeah,
of it?
yeah.
with those bags
From
of money in
two
the front.
slightly sinister men down in the river. It said Activision and Ubisoft, and you can
Did
buy
you get those
scores
crates of
to see that.
Doritos get delivered as well?
So I had like quite a few.
all hammered on
Stellas,
Mountain Dew.
Quite a few Stellas and a couple of large bags of crisps, which I dropped in the river and just
Oh my
saw
God.
slowly
Aw.
float away.
Polluted the rivers of Bath. Sorry, Bath Council.
Turns out I'm not a very good seaman after.
Excuse me?
After I've been drinking.
Joel,
Belgian
best.
lager.
I don't really remember this one, but the pictures of it look amazing. There's one when I was like 3 years old and I'm dressed in a full-body Spider-Man outfit and I'm eating a cocktail sausage on a stick.
Yeah.
And I've just been given this amazing toy, which is like a plastic shooting gallery with a gun that fires little ball bearings at it. And I look like I'm having the best time. I don't think I've ever had that much fun since then. So that's probably the best one. Worst one, I had a bad one. The first one I had when I was working here was quite bad because we were going out like for a birthday thing, but not on the actual day. So on the actual day, I just walked home on my own and drank beer in the house on my own.
Oh, that
It's
is
really
sad.
quite sad. I also have my 18th was really good, but I think I had it the night before my birthday, woke up on my birthday, barely dressed on the kitchen floor, hugging an enormous bottle of spirits, and my sister was just standing over me, just looking at me pityingly. So that was a bad way to start a birthday.
Did it get better the rest of the day?
I don't think so.
Can't remember it. My best and worst is on the same day. It's simultaneous. It is my 18th. My mum, bless her, hired out like a tennis club in Balham. and like a karaoke machine. And obviously, I love karaoke, so I did like 3 or 4 songs. I had my own personal karaoke machine. That was absolutely amazing.
Didn't let anyone else play on it.
Well, this is the thing. Now everyone else had a go, but then I got banned from it at my own birthday because I got so drunk that halfway through Be My Baby, I just dropped the mic and there was this massive bang, and the MC was like, "I think you've probably had enough, Ben." And then I was quite sad about that. Then I got so drunk that I collapsed in a urinal.
No.
Like one of those sort of long trench urinals.
Oh, not
I
face
collapsed,
first.
and then someone came in to help me, and I was like, "I don't want you to help me. I want Sean to help me. I only want to speak to Sean." So I was, poor Sean Brace. I don't think she did. But I was so upset and embarrassed. I was like, "I only want Sean to come and help me."
So wait, how did you collapse into the urinal? Like,
I think
what
because I'm having
what parts of you were in
my
the
arm.
urinal?
I sort of collapsed on the floor with my arm in the. That's how drunk it was. There's also a sort of postscript where the next morning, my stepdad had given me 2 £50 notes as my birthday present. I woke up in the morning with like a £50 note in my pocket, and then with 2 20s, a fiver, and like 3, 21 in change, because I'd paid for like one bottle of beer with a £50 note in my junk. So wow. Can I have a beer, please? With a £50 note. And I guess knowing it was my birthday, they honoured me. So it was quite a good birthday until I made a pillock of myself in about 4 different ways.
Actually, I want to change my worst birthday quickly. It wasn't my birthday, it was part of Leon's recent 40th celebrations where I made a complete prat of myself at a weekend excursion in the country where I was so excited about drinking in the country. I had way too much to drink on the train. Got to these complete strangers' house who were very nice couple. Had 1 gin and tonic, collapsed in their large back garden. Tried to do like a ninja kip up after 2 hours of sleep in like a flower bed. Fell over again. Gave everyone the fingers who were eating at a nearby table. Got force-fed a burger, and then to my unbeknownst horror the next morning, found out that during my several fits of being unconsciousness, crisps had been placed on my face, which had then been eaten off by a couple of dogs.
No.
Nice dogs.
So yeah, dogs.
They were gentle.
Dogs eating crisps off my face, and genitals.
Woof woof. To that story. All right, so as part of our birthday celebrations, we're going to bring back 3 very popular segments that used to exist in the podcast. I don't really know why we got rid of them, but they are back for this episode.
I think people will find out soon enough.
We might, if you send in enough votes, we might keep some of them. Specifically, name that tune. That's the most popularly requested. Is popularly a word?
Yeah.
No.
Popularly.
Most often requested.
Where's Emma when you need her?
Let's just make up words. That will annoy Emma. All right, so we're going to do Name That Tune. Who remembers Name That Tune?
I do. Leon does.
With pleasure, right, John?
We only did like twice, didn't we?
Yeah, it wasn't very good.
It just sounded like drunk men trying to breathe.
Also, it was the fact that no one could get them right. No one could get the answers.
Ian Wilson, I think, won 2 in a row and now works for us. So there's a
so if you win, you'll get a job. You won't get a job.
We're actually going to give away quite a good prize. So what we're going to do is we're each going to hum a theme tune from a popular or perhaps not popular game, and whoever writes into us and guesses the most wins a hardback limited edition The Last of Us guide. So there's actually some incentives. I think in the past we gave away crappy things like
I remember
ZZ
like
Top
ZZ
Blu-rays.
Top Blu-ray, yeah.
Who wouldn't want that? Everyone. So yeah, so we're all going to hum some theme tunes, and then if you think you know any or all of them, then do drop us a tweet on @OPM_UK or a message on facebook.com/OfficialPlayStation Magazine, and if you get the most right, we'll send you a prize. Hooray! Who wants to go first? Phil, I think you want to go first.
Phil's been practicing all morning.
Right. Me. Imagine that I'm a tinny 80s sounding synthesizer right now. Right.
I always imagine that when I look at you.
It's just the vibe I carry. Da 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 da. Da 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 dun da 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 dun 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 da da dun dun da 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 dun 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 dun.
That's probably
it's the Russian national anthem.
It's quite good.
It did sound a bit Soviet towards the end.
The Azerbaijan national
I think
anthem.
it's pretty good.
That's all you get.
That was good. I don't know what it was, but that was good. Leon, you look enthusiastic about this. You can go next.
Yeah. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. That's what I'm doing.
This is podcast gold. Who wouldn't like this? Joel.
Mine is very brief, so you better pay attention. That's what you get.
Is that the sound they played when the royal baby?
It's quite easy. I think people will get it.
All hail Prince George. Dave.
Okay, now for real now. Okay, I have to get myself in the mindset.
What I'm imagining
Is it Young by
there-
Talisa?
Yes.
What I imagine there, and I don't know the game, but I just imagine like the world's fattest emperor returning to his to his castle.
Right,
Really
last
paints a
one.
picture.
I can't look because they will do this nodding dog thing and it'll put me off. Okay.
Ben, that was incredible.
There is an extra. There's like another sequence.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm going to stop at that one.
That's the overture. I know that one. That's the only one I know.
So that is.
The only one I know is yours.
I don't even know mine.
So that was Name That Tune. So if you know.
Oh, I wonder why we stopped that.
If you know any of them and indeed want to hear more Name That Tunes in the future, then do get in touch and you could win a prize. Let's move on swiftly from that to now. This was, I think, the most popular thing we ever did, and it ran for months and months and months until Leon argued about it. This segment is called "What We've Been Arguing About with Leon Since We Last Featured." What we've been arguing about with Leon this month.
I think this return sort of.
He's arguing about its return. This is brilliant.
Well, no, I was going to say the return marks a good reason why we stopped doing it, because two of these things are conversations I've had nothing to do with, and the third one involved 8 people.
Oh, it's such a winning feature.
Yes.
Oh, this one's
It's
going to be
worked.
horrible.
Brilliant.
It's so
You
sad.
can't have a feature where you make some stuff up and then go to what we argued with you about.
It's working. You're arguing.
You tell that to X publication.
Yeah. So the first thing is there's been a so it's not on Kickstarter, is it? It's some other
Some
junior
fake
version of Kickstarter.
Kickstarter, yeah.
There's been a Kickstarter fake Kickstarter campaign to get a cat cafe in Bath, which is where we live, and we all think it's a load of nonsense. It's got it's trying to get £100,000 worth of funding, and it's got about £760. And I think it's nonsense, and Leon thinks we should have a cat cafe in Bath, and cats are great.
No, I think it's nonsense as well.
But you think cats are great,
I have a cat.
and they're rubbish.
What?
Cats and rubbish, right?
Cats and rubbish.
Cats am rubbish.
No, I haven't had any conversation about this cat cafe.
Have you argued with your cat about it? What if the cat
No,
wants to go
he's
and
a
live
cat.
with? What if he wants to live in the cat cafe? Will you let him go and live there?
He doesn't even leave the house. Like, I've shown him the front. I've tried to get him outside.
That is mean.
No,
Lock him in.
I've tried to get him outside. It's like
Podcast
it's like the bit in the Omen when they try to get Damien in the cathedral.
Oh,
So,
2 more to go, folks.
thumbs up.
this segment's upsetting.
So the second thing is
You can't just simply just make some stuff up and go, you argue about this. Like, no, I never mentioned
you
it.
do argue about science. Science.
No, you usually turn around and go, this is rubbish, about
'Cause it's
something that's
science.
like a proven scientific fact. With
And
loads
then we
of...
argue about it. Or discuss. So they are real things that we argue about.
This is like one of those Childline adverts where there's like you just pan down to one of us in the corner walking down.
They're arguing again.
Right, the one thing that did happen was having arranged a lunch with a PR the other day. That I invited
The key
you
words
about.
are having arranged a lunch with APR, not me.
That I invited you two about 3 minutes before we left the office. You then went to the lunch, and then I had to pop out and do something, and then no one, including yourself, called me to tell me where the lunch was. So I stood outside the pub for like 25 minutes going, is Leon going to call me? Is the PR going to call me? Is Leon going to call me? Is the PR going to
Key
call
things
me?
here is you'd arranged that with the PR and also discussed with the PR what you were doing. I didn't know what you were doing. How am I supposed to know you've gone somewhere else and we're waiting to find out what was happening? I just thought you were joining us
Who's
later. That's
missed
what
this
the PR said. The PR said you're joining us later. So
Is there any other wrongs you'd like to put right? I seem to have cheered you up with this segment.
yeah, it's gone well.
Okay. Should we talk about Ratatouille? Or are you going to hit me? This is maybe a segment we shouldn't have brought back. It used to be funnier, I think. All right, let's move on swiftly. We're going to move on to the last segment we've brought back, which hopefully won't be such a crushing disaster, which is called What We're Playing Right Now. If you remember, we always used to spend 10 minutes talking about the games we're playing at the moment and whether they were good or not. Leon, what have you been playing lately?
I've been playing Terraria, actually, which is sort of nice in a I haven't got a clue what's going on kind of way. I had to spend, at one point, within half an hour, I had like 5 browser tabs open on the wiki page for Terraria, trying to work out what the hell you're meant to be doing, but sort of enjoying it at the same time. There's like not knowing what the hell's going on is quite an interesting experience. So I made a little house and I made a bed and made all crafting. It's like Minecraft sort of thing, but it doesn't give you any instructions what to do. So you're just wandering around collecting dirt and rocks, and it doesn't tell you what to make out of it. So I'm on the page, like on these wiki pages, looking up all the stuff, going, okay, so if I mix this and that, I can make that. And it's been quite good fun.
Yeah, Emma's a big fan of that. I think she was campaigning to get in the top 15 of the PSN directory. Top 15 PSN
I think it may have made a
Did it go
fleeting
in?
appearance in there.
Yeah.
And swiftly bumped for Hotline Miami or something better.
Phil?
I've been playing an extraordinary amount of terrible games lately, which has been enjoyable. And in amongst them, like a diamond in the rough, Rayman Legends turned up and has been fantastic. And I actually like Hotline Miami when it turned up. You can tell when a game is fantastic in that you hardly get a chance to play it, and that everyone else just bundles in and wants to go at it. And
well, I watched you play, and you were rubbish.
It might have looked that way.
It did.
It's
it did look that
deceptive
way.
like that.
Oh right. So when you look rubbish, you're actually really good.
It's the clever bit of design.
Ah.
It's fantastic. It's really varied. That I thought maybe they would have gone really far down the kind of rhythm action game route of every jump you do and every, everything you collect, striking a chord. Yeah. But it doesn't. There's a good variation of sort of classic Rayman platforming and more of the sort of like the mariachi, Eye of the Tiger song in the trailer, levels like that. Really good medieval castle version of Black Betty by.
You haven't told us about the rubbish games you've been playing as well.
The rubbish
you
ones.
love.
Yeah, there are too many. Okay, so Tour de France 2013.
That was fun. We had fun playing that.
It was actually in 2-player. It was quite fun.
It was quite fun.
When I came in and watched, and you two were having prolonged discussions about when to eat your energy bar.
Yeah, well, this is it. That's because that's pretty much.
He screwed me.
Well, I've
the Montreal screw job.
I'm just gonna like pop ahead, and you have to keep pace with me, and then you just sprint.
It's just like right, gone.
Yeah.
Is energy bar thinly veiled sexual innuendo?
No,
not even a little bit.
What are the 6 things you can take on a route with you?
You can take fruitcake, a banana, an apple,
fruitcake,
a gel. Fruitcake's like a thing cyclists take. I mean, maybe not tour cyclists, but yeah, it's very dense, very sugary, lots of carbs, and it'll keep you going.
You can take 2. It's like Nightmare. You can only carry 2 items with you on your ride.
Even worse than that. In fact, I should say that Tour de France has come a long way since 2012, in which it was a barely
from a 2 to a 4.
Yeah, I mean that's massive. I mean,
put that on the box.
We're looking at an 8 for Tour de France.
Doubly good.
So especially if you get an next gen.
They could have put that on the box twice as good as last year's.
Yeah. If anyone would even look at the box.
But there's one game that's even worse that you've been playing.
Indeed, it's the worst.
You thought Tour de France was the ride to hell, but in fact.
Very nicely done. Ride to Hell Retribution.
That was the Ride to Hell, was it?
It's the worst game. It's the worst game I've ever played. It might be one of the worst things that's happened.
You liked it bizarrely much after you saw the horrible sex scene.
Didn't you say it was the best looking racing game on PS?
Best looking game since Resident Evil.
I think it's one of the best looking awful games I've seen in a while.
It was tremendously entertaining until I got to the bit where a man
really misogynistic dead sex.
I was just wandering around trying to explore it. It presented.
So it's not actual riding. It's just called Ride to Hell.
There's quite a lot of riding actually, but the riding is balked.
Yeah, there is.
There we go.
Yeah, there is. Up high.
So the riding's balked because you're riding along a motorbike, and then if anyone comes along next to you, you're sort of locked into this QTE. So all the controls taken away.
Why doesn't it have like road rash style abilities?
I know that would have been
doesn't even
acceptable.
have sound.
No,
also
all the
sound
motorbikes
effects.
are pretty much silenced. That's
Really?
weird.
Yeah.
So the riding's rubbish. I was wandering around in what looked like a sort of open area hub world thing of a city. I went into like a swimming pool of a motel, and there was a man and a woman just having a conversation. And before I know what I'd done, I'd punched him to death. And then, without so much as a single word of exchange, I was having sex with the woman.
Again, silent.
In complete silence.
You must have known what you were doing when you're punching the man, though, considering it takes about 50 or 60 punches in the shins.
Well, it takes exactly 50 kicks.
50
or
kicks
if you,
will
I mean,
kill a
you can
man.
punch him in like 4 or 5 punches, but I prefer to kick.
Directly
so
50 kicks.
Oh, my shin!
50
Down
long
I
kicks.
go.
In fact, sometimes you can kick them like maybe 30 or 40 times, and then they'll just sort of like stop and just like, well, okay, I've had enough, and they'll just stand
Yeah,
there.
there's amazing AI moments
And
where
then you
they
can just
fight
walk
them for a
past.
while, and then they're just like, no,
And
I'm
you
not
just walk
fighting
past,
anymore.
yeah.
If I see this game in like a bargain bin for $2.99, should I buy it just to
I
experience
would
its
have said
awfulness?
yes if were it not for the horrible attitude towards women that you just like you can't condone. There were some tremendously entertaining bits because they're so broken that it's unfathomable. But then there are also moments where you just feel sad for the human race that these scenes exist.
The
So I
thing
can't
is,
really recommend it as like so bad it's good.
The reviews it's gotten, I reckon, will mean that it will sell more copies than like a 3 or a 4 out of 10 because it's gotten so much press coverage because it's so dreadful. So I reckon
Absolutely.
people will go out and go, I've got to try it.
That's the sad
And
truth.
there is a morbid fascination with just how bad it is.
Hooray! Hooray for Ride to Hell.
That's been
Joel,
my
what are you
gaming
playing at the moment?
experience.
I played, after Phil reviewed it, I then finished Hotline Miami very, very quickly in about a day and a half.
Well, even with how hard it is, and
Yeah,
having
it
to
turns out I'm
repeat
really
things.
good at it. So I finished it really quickly. It's really, really fun.
Didn't you hate Miami?
No, I like it.
No, Meeks hates
No, it's
it.
Meeks. It
I don't
doesn't.
hate it. I played it after. I played it for about 3 minutes, made a snap judgment on it, and I've yet to go back.
I'm not prodding the beast here. I genuinely thought, didn't I come in the games room one day? And you were capturing it.
I was trying to, capturing it is the worst way you can possibly play it because it's a game about failing and repeating, and if you need to capture some footage, that's really bad.
Yeah,
So-
I tried to create like different sections
Yeah.
of stuff to
All-
capture,
all
and
I
I
had
just
to-
got stuck.
All I had to do
One
was capture
level.
2 or 3 minutes of a few different levels, and it just turns
Should've
out
got me
that
to play it.
trying to
I'm
do
an
it
expert,
on
mate.
demand is quite hard.
Yeah.
That was really good. That's one of the best
And
things.
I think it's the embargo was the next day, so I had to capture and make a video in the space of about sort of 4 or 5 hours, and I was just stuck on one level and I couldn't get off.
It does. That is part of the, I'd say, fun. Part of the experience of playing it is getting stuck. But that was brilliant. That's one of the best things I've played all year. And I just started Metro Last Light the other day, so I played about an hour and a half, 2 hours of that. It was good.
Living up to the hype.
I took a lot of light bulbs out. I've never played a better light bulb unscrewing simulator in my life. It's all right. Not a lot's happened so far, but yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's good.
Dave, I know you've been playing a lot of time into the Michael Jackson experience on PS Vita, but what else have you been playing when you haven't been when you haven't been beating it?
I've been playing so little recently, just because The Last of Us, after playing and reviewing that, it's just ruined all games for me. Like I fully intended. I had a little pile of 7 and 8s, like Remember Me, Resi 6.
Best of
9 out of 10 for
PS3.
graphics, though.
DMC, Binary Domain. I thought I'm going to try and get through these, and then I thought, no, there's no point. I don't
First world problems. I've just got too many games
I don't want to
play.
play
Oh,
anything that's not
hard.
a 10, so I've gone back to an older...
I don't want to play anything that's not a 10.
I've gone back to an older 10, GTA 4, just because I'm so unrepentantly desperate for GTA 5. That's the closest I can get to kind of replicating it.
Didn't you play current gen FIFA 14 and you weren't that impressed by it?
Oh, yeah. Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll talk about that. I did play current gen FIFA 14 last week. It was a 75% build of the game. I last played it...
Best looking football game on PS3?
Well, it's strange because I last played it a couple months ago when it was 60% build, and I actually really enjoyed it. They've done a lot to the shooting this year. The shooting is excellent, and that's remained throughout both builds. The new movement system is not, so it's called precision movement. It's very much grounded in physics and biomechanics, as EA kind of like to call it. So it's
What's that even
essentially,
mean
I
in
don't know. I
games?
mean, it's nothing. It's just a made up PR babble. So it's all about kind of really promoting an increased sense of momentum this season, and like emphasising, well, it's supposed to emphasise the greater physical battle for possession in midfield, but really all it does is it makes you feel like you're playing on an ice rink. Every player has the touch of like Grant Hull, and it's just that the tweaking, it just needs serious tweaking just now. Like they've done something to the ball physics where they've really slowed down the ball, so like the ball feels like it's got much more spin in it, and the player movement is just much slower. First touch and turning circles are much more pronounced. So I mean, I was playing it with a colleague of ours, James Jarvis. We played like 4 or 5 games in the normal speed, and then it was so slow. We had that turn up to fast. You know how in FIFA 14 menus you can obviously tinker with match speed, and even on fast, it was still considerably slower than FIFA 13, which is a worry. But the good thing is Joel's played the PS4 version, which is
Yeah,
apparently
you really liked it,
shipping
didn't you, Joel?
up much
Yeah, I
better, so-
played the PS3 version, didn't like it, but I played the next gen version and thought it was good. I only played like a few, like again, a handful of games, but I had a good time with it. I thought the movement system actually worked quite well on next gen. It looks very pretty. Physics stuff was all in place. I think, from what I spoke to one of the producers, I think the next gen version was sort of further along the road than the current gen version. He said there were a lot of animations missing from the current gen version and stuff like that. So I imagine it'll come right eventually, but it does feel a little bit like a year when it might shift.
Yeah.
The football game landscape might shift slightly.
Well, funnily enough, I've been playing a lot of PES on current gen. Obviously, there isn't a next gen version coming, but I've been playing PES 2014, which the code we've got has only got 4 teams in it: Santos, Bayern Munich, Italy, and Germany. And it's a massive step forward. It's obviously based on the Fox engine this year, and the tangible gameplay effect is that there's a lot more. You talked about the sort of physics in FIFA. The physics in PES are much improved, where momentum really comes into play. So one of my big criticisms about FIFA is that to beat a man, you always have to basically use a trick. It's very hard to beat a man just with your sort of momentum of movements. Whereas with PES now, if you play the ball out like a winger, and you've got a man sprinting in on you, if you sort of slow down or turn at the right time, you can like beat his tackle, which you see very rarely in FIFA. I think that's one of the things it does really well. Through balls are fantastic, so they've worked really hard on player runs. So if you're playing as Bayern, say, with Mandzukic, is that you say it?
Yeah.
Up front,
Yeah.
he'll like hold his run, and if the back four pushes up, he'll move up with them. And then as you play the through ball, you still have to time it perfectly. He'll bend his runs to try and run onto it at exactly the right time. And the games I had yesterday, I played a few games with a representative from Konami and also a couple with Matt Elliott. There were 1 or 2 that decided on that kind of one timely through ball, and you still see you'll see 4 or 5 times where you'll mistime it and a player will be offside. But it feels like the intelligence of the players around you is quite sharp. Whereas on FIFA, there's so many times, both in the attacking and defensive sense, where a striker will just be hanging around offside and not come back on. Defenders will just wander off into the distance. I know that's one of the things they're working on this year, but I think with PES there seems to be big improvements in that kind of AI area, and that's really important. I'm not going to turn around and say it's going to be a FIFA beta, but I think it's the biggest step forwards we've seen year on year from PES in quite some time. So we will see whether that endures and makes it into the final version. But I think the one challenge they've got is not having the PS4 version. If FIFA turns out to be brilliant on next gen, then PES has got a lot of catching up to do again. But
It doesn't even have to be brilliant, does it? It just has to be there.
Yeah,
it does, but it depends what the install base is like. I still would expect the PS3 version of FIFA to outsell the PS4 version, just because there's so many consoles out there.
But it does mean by the time PES comes out, loads of people already have FIFA, and even people at later adopters will just pick up a cheap second-hand version of FIFA. It'll already be there.
Hey, well, the season will started by the time then we do the next podcast. Yes, it will.
Yes, it will.
Let's all predict who's going to win the title. Leon, you can go first.
The ones in red.
Okay. I think he means Man United. Definitely doesn't mean Arsenal, Dave. Phil?
Chelsea.
Joel?
I'm not playing.
What? You've got to play. Even if you pick a city team like Crystal Palace.
I think Man City will win the title.
Really?
Meeks?
Yeah.
Chelsea.
What title?
The title of
Best looking
hated
team in the on PS3.
The bluest team.
I still think Man United. Joel's probably.
I'm
cynical
I'm
because it's the same
scared.
team.
We haven't signed anyone. City have bought 4 really good players. If we come back to me if we get Fabregas.
All right, cool. So let's
Meeks
enjoy.
won't be coming back to anyone if they get Fabregas.
By the time the next podcast comes out, none of us will be talking. We'll all be so furious about
I'm
football.
burning down this building if United sign Fabregas.
It's a strange move.
Hooray for football.
Oh man, imagine if this building does burn and then I'll look like the chief suspect.
Especially as you're standing outside smoking a cigarette while it's going on in the place.
Hooray for football.
Yeah.
All right, back to more conventional podcast segments now with your reader letters. We're just going to rattle straight into them. Number 1, at Josh McKenna on Twitter asks, what's your favourite thing about working on OPM? I've gone to Leon first on every time this episode, so let's start with Joel today, or for this bit.
Struggling.
Yeah, no, not struggling. There's a lot of good stuff. We get to play good games very early. I get to, my job sometimes is just to sit and play a really good game like BioShock Infinite and then write about it. That's quite a good way to earn a living. The in-office vibe is probably the best thing. Everyone's friendly and
said with friendly.
we do
Fine.
have a lot of work to do, but there are times when it really doesn't feel like we're doing work at all, and everyone's just sort of enjoying themselves, and everyone just gets on well, and you can take the piss and have a good time, and it's just fun.
Phil?
In a similar vibe to Joe, I think it is sort of being in a team of people that I'd consider to be my friends, and sort of in douchebag. Nice. No, I'm going to change my answer. It's actually so I think I can't remember which issue of OPS 1 had the Grand Theft Auto 1 demo on it, but basically that demo was how I bonded with like one of my best friends in the world, and at the time like OPS 1 just, I don't know, it seemed like it was made in like this impossibly big skyscraper by these sort of demigod gamers, and it's fantastic to sort of
just like
it really
now.
Is it?
So it's fantastic to sort of
crushing reality.
we do it out of a cardboard box, and the results are surprising. But it's really gratifying to sort of fulfil a childhood ambition and to be part of something that seemed so out of reach and ethereal when I was a kid. So that's fun for me.
Dave?
My favourite thing about The Office is continually trolling Phil. Like when I passed his desk recently, I automatically press power number 3 on his fan.
Number 3?
Just directly in his face. And last week he was frantically trying to collect all his receipts to get them signed off, and they blew them all over the floor.
Yeah.
In a similar vein, actually, all of us using Meeks' bin for a couple of weeks just to annoy him was pretty good fun.
To the extent of just
it wasn't bad, but Phil's always eating sushi, so it was always bits of like dead, uncooked fish in my bin.
We should probably put this
in like live fish in your bin instead.
We should probably put this in an earlier segment, but it's not your favourite thing working in the office, all the tea stains on your wall.
That's Leon, so although I can't say anything because I've spilt at least 3 or 4 cups of tea just all over my carpet.
How did they emerge? Was it from you missing the bin or bouncing them off the wall into the bin?
Was it the backboard?
I'm the only one using that bin. I think it's just that.
I used to sit with you and I don't drink tea, so only one of us made those stains.
It's just spatter, isn't it? From the
no big deal, guys. Just spatter.
Other than me apparently making things up that you say and do, what is your other favourite thing about working on?
Well, the early access stuff is good. Seeing games sort of, at an early stage. I even like seeing games on, they haven't properly finished them yet, and they still got kind of wireframe bits in. I love all that sort of stuff. And meeting devs, I love sort of game design and stuff. So I love talking to developers about how they've done things, and that sort of stuff is really good.
I like. I forgot. I like all the bribes I get to give high scores to games. That's really good. I mean, I need a new Porsche every 4 or 5 months, so it's nice. There's a new COD or a new Uncharted or whatever I get. Big sack of money to give it a nice high score.
I'm going to also vote just laughter. There's loads of great things about the job that you guys have covered.
To laugh.
But just we had an hour in the office yesterday where I think we were just all giggling uncontrollably over a certain Meeks phrase where we were trying to give you a little inside info into into how we create the packaging. We're obviously, as we discussed, Meeks went out.
Go 2 ways. I'm not sure which
Meeks went out and saw FIFA 14 last week, and obviously we're putting a cover hit on the wallet about it. See, I told you, laughter.
You're going to ruin the magic now.
And I came up with the cover hit, and it wasn't that good. It didn't end up in the final cover hit, but I just said something like, we see Ultimate Team, and it gets messy, because obviously people want to get the messy card in Ultimate Team. And I said, Joel's Dephead wasn't here, Leon Associated wasn't here. So next in line, I called Dave over and said, what do you think of this cover line? Is it a pun too far? He went, yeah, I don't really like it. And then as he was walking back to his desk, he just went, what about full bail ahead for FIFA? And I went, what? And he went, like full scale ahead. And I just went, Dave, that's awful. He went, it's as good as it gets messy. And I went, it makes no sense. Full bail ahead.
I really don't know why I thought full scale ahead
and
was a phrase.
This came hot on the heels of last month. A crosshead in the mag that got taken out of another FIFA preview was it about the new shooting in FIFA?
Was about the new shooting.
The crosshead was shoots meal deal. And it's that kind of thing where
the greatest crosshead that's never been allowed in the mag. It made Phil fall off his desk and laugh.
So bad.
Shoots meal deal. And then there was a bit of an argument as well, continuing, because then Phil had one left in that was about. Phil, do you want to explain what it was about, and then you can explain
which
the.
Which one is it? Is it
no, don't say it. Oh. Save it for the end. Just explain. Yes, it's that one.
So it was in my Stealth Inc. review. Stealth Inc.'s a game. It was a stealth game in which you're also encouraged to go really quick, and speedrunner level was a leaderboard in it. So you're sort of a bolt through the level.
That's
you
right,
bolt,
explain
you bolt
it.
through. You're also unseen because you're being stealthy. So you could say you're an unseen bolt, which by chance happens to rhyme with
Well, you
World
say
Champion
right.
Sprinter.
You say
You say
right
rhyme,
very
sound a bit like-
tenuously. If you
Mustafa
force the
Powell. No,
pronunciation.
Usain
Christie.
Bolt. So the crosshead was unseen bolt. Now I didn't put this up. I didn't hold it up as like the greatest crosshead in history, but it happened to go up on the board, and that's been like a worm in Meeks' brain.
Yeah,
It's just
because
been
Emma
tickling
liked it
him
and wrote it
ever
up on the
since.
board, and Meeksy didn't.
This was
like
after he tried to sabotage my crosshead for a Vice City thing I've just written in the issue not on sale yet. Sex and Versetti. He tried to make me
Sex and
take that out.
Versetti is good.
It's quite
It's good, but it wasn't to do with sex. Whereas you are both a bolt and unseen.
So yeah, as I was saying, it's the laughter and the arguments that come from
And
very
if you wanna
creative,
buy
funny people.
If you want to buy
getting
next
things a little
month's
bit
mag, it'll be on shelf with full bale ahead. And massive
wrong. Look out for that one. Question 2
Oh.
at LB003G0676. That's a catchy name, mate. On Twitter, asks, "What's the most exciting piece of news you've ever had to keep stum about because of a non-disclosure contract?" This is actually one of the worst moments of my career. Hooray! We don't really get that many non-disclosure contracts. A lot of times we're told things on trust, and we have embargoes that we have to match specifically for previews and reviews. But I once was shown something. I'm not going to name the game because, as I say, it was one of the worst points of my career. I was shown a game that was being revealed at an E3 a few months in advance, and it was shown to me, as I say, off the record. But I was told once it comes out, you can write about what you've seen. And this game got leaked, shall we say, beforehand, and I added fuel to the fire with the fire with a slightly misjudged tweet that then got picked up by the entire internet, and it was horrible. I remember sitting in my hotel room in LA being very, very depressed about it, and it's not something I look back on fondly. So that was interesting. Can anyone think of anything else? Have we ever had to sit on anything?
most
and
of the
been
time,
desperate
it's
to tell
not
people about
because of
stuff?
contracts. There's a lot of stuff you get told off the record that you don't have to. You just have to be trusted not to blurt it out. I got one at the moment actually, but obviously I can't say.
Uncharted 7,
I've got one at the moment as well, which I can't say.
Yeah, I've got a couple.
So yeah, good.
So,
this is
yeah.
exciting for you to hear.
We'll do an
Stuff's
after hours
happening.
password locked podcast later on that you'll be able to listen in on and hear all our secrets. We won't really. Question 3 at DSonicX on Twitter asks, "With DuckTales and Castle of Illusion getting HD remakes, what other games should get remakes?" I say Quackshot.
Do you mean Disney ones, just
I
general?
think he means any.
Yeah, there's a weird theme to that question.
Yeah.
There's like three.
It does seem to feel like
I'm
there's
gonna-
a Disney thing going on.
I'm going to get Streets of Rage and Sensible Soccer out the way already
Streets of
and not
Rage.
elaborate because I've said that answer a million times, but it is still true. Dave? We'll come back to
Leisure
Dave.
Suit Larry.
Leisure Suit Larry. Yeah.
Come back to me.
What about Destroy All Humans? You'd be a fan of that. Joel?
Oh, the original. The original.
Brilliant.
The original Metal Gear Solid, I'd like to see that remade with the Fox engine, which Kojima kind of hinted at,
That'd
not
be good.
necessarily with the Fox engine, but during the 25th anniversary celebrations last year, there was a hint about a remake for MGS.
Well, he tweeted a little while ago, didn't he, about sort of letting someone else do it in the Fox engine, and apparently it was like a mistranslation, and everyone leapt on it, and I think Just Add Water, the Oddworld guys, were sort of talking about it, but he said it I didn't mean literally he wanted to let someone else make it in Fox engine. He was just saying it'd
if
be
they
a nice
redo it, I
idea.
want it done with exactly the same music and exactly the same original audio recording. So, because they remade it on the GameCube, and it was called the Twin Snakes, and it was the MGS2 engine. It was really good, but they re-recorded all their lines, which weren't as good as the original line recordings, and they changed the score, which annoyed me.
Awesome.
Have you finished now?
Yeah.
You're gonna right, Joel. Your turn.
I want Bushido Blade.
Oh, that's a
I
good
think
shout.
it's a forgotten gem of a game, which was actually really, really brilliant.
Is that the one-hit kill one? You could,
yeah, sword beat 'em up with one-hit kills. It was so good. I think if someone brought that back with a few gameplay tweaks and some nice shiny graphics, that'd be great.
Leon, Soul Reaver, Legacy of Kain, I know, Phil. I don't know, any
I always get that one because whenever I go blank, I was thinking something like I'd quite like to play the old Deus Ex.
See, I thought
tartan
that,
up a bit.
and then I thought, no, I really wouldn't, because part of its charm is like flat-faced JC and all the kind of pixelated.
I know every now and then they do you see some mods for it on the PC version, and you look at basically they just spruced up the textures, and you look at it and you go, actually it still looks quite pretty.
they'd have to
Yeah,
make
it does look
it
good.
like totally faithful, but I'd play that game all day.
Phil?
First off, I'll get Sunset Riders and Contra out of the way, any of the Contra games, still in that same 2D perspective, but just like really nice hand-drawn art would be incredible. Also, slightly more left field, No Fear Downhill Mountain Biking's anyone played that?
Oh my god, that's
PS1?
worse than
have you just made
Emma's
that up?
obsession with Doc Summit.
I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
Well, it was fantastic, and it had a first-person. So it's a push bike game, right? But it had a first-person view, and the sound, even on PS1, was really great. So like you could hear yourself breathing. It was all about managing your energy level and stuff. And the first-person view was really immersive. If you could look at there's tons of YouTube videos of people with GoPros on their helmets doing these insane downhill runs down like the Brazilian favelas and stuff. And I watch it, and I think I want to play that game where I'm controlling that. I think it would be like really great now.
What was the game that had? It was like a racing game, but you'd go like along the Grand Canyon or through a rainforest in America, and you could skate, you could bike, or you could like rollerblade bike, or you could skateboard or something.
I don't know, but I'm writing down this idea.
It sounds like the most 90s thing ever.
It really was.
Rollerblades in a rainforest.
I'll have to find it. I
Some
thought
slap bass.
someone would know.
I actually, thinking about it, along with the games I've mentioned, I'd really like California Games to come back. I love that game.
No,
it had hacky sack and surfing.
But nothing worked. None of the games in 1 and 2. 2 entire games full of mini games. None of the games worked.
Really? I remember it being
what
amazing.
What were you playing it on? Worked fine on Commodore 64.
Mega Drive?
iPhone.
I think I played it on Mega Drive. Wait, was it on Mega Drive and
was-
C64? That is a weird crossover.
It was really difficult. Like, I remember, so there's like the windsurfing one. You jump off a cliff, and then you just sort of like very, very gracelessly.
You sure you weren't just
fall
doing
to
these
the
things
edge.
for
Jump off a
real?
cliff
You sure
in
you weren't just
windsurfing?
Yeah. You sure you weren't just doing
It's
these things in
gliding,
real
actually,
life and
gliding.
finding them really hard, like age 12?
Even hacky sack was like impossible.
Hacky sack. I know in real life hacky sack's hard. I bet Leon could probably do it. But
If you're jumping off
tried.
cliffs windsurfing, it's going to be really difficult.
That would be difficult.
Gotta be honest.
But like roller skating, impossible. You hit one pebble, that's it. Game over. Enter your initials. It was like the hardest game in the world.
is there like an iPad or iPhone version of Paperboy? That seems like an
Oh,
amazing
that'd
game.
be good. Oh, imagine like a really deep
First
RPG.
person.
I was really,
First person, you're on the bike.
I was really disappointed when
15-minute cutscene.
I think it was a Zac Efron film, Paperboy. It wasn't about the game at all. What about your recent escapades on Donkey Kong? Is California Games harder than Donkey Kong?
Donkey
Wait,
Kong
what was this with
That was
Incredible?
incredible.
We were at
You-
the pub recently and Phil
on Leon's birthday.
started ploughing
Yeah.
money into the arcade machine playing Donkey Kong. You were rubbish.
You
said
did
that in high school.
You sold
Ages.
you sold
You spent
yourself as like
ages doing
Bristol's
it.
answer to Steve Weeb, however you say his name, and you were not.
I did proclaim that I'd set the new world record. That didn't happen, but I did set the new arcade cabinet.
Have you-
Andy Lung did
Billy
a wall
Williams.
jump in Donkey Kong.
Didn't set the
which
new record,
isn't
though.
a thing, but he
Yeah.
did
Really?
he did a mechanic that doesn't exist in a game that's been around for like
That was
30
so
years.
weird.
It was really surreal.
Wow.
So anyone else who's done a wall jump in Donkey Kong, please let us know.
Question 4. Haider Ali Khan on Facebook asks, is there any chance of a GTA or Gran Turismo on PS Vita? Joe, our resident king of reviews and things, what do you think?
I reckon we might get a GTA, like another spin-off series like they did with Liberty City Doodads on Vita eventually, and I wouldn't be at all surprised to see some sort of pared down version of Gran Turismo on there as well.
Turismo's more likely.
Yeah, I think of the two, that's more likely. I mean, again, you might be able to play them both on remote play if they come to next gen at some point, which they might, I suppose. But I think eventually another handheld GTA, sort of like a miniaturized episodes type thing, would probably happen. Yeah.
Meeks, you shook your head at GTA.
I don't see it.
Why not?
I think
they've already made handheld versions.
I know.
Of GTA.
I just think.
It's a good argument.
I just think with the current install base of Vita, it might not be the most attractive proposition for them. So.
All right, question 5. At Tough Cub on Twitter asks, who would play each of you in OPM the movie?
Phil's done like a full cast list.
Oh, has he?
I didn't realise that no one else was going to.
No, come on, Phil. Let's have the cast list.
Yeah, go on.
Wow.
Who's the exec producer first?
I think Apatow.
Okay,
Definitely,
yeah.
it's an Apatow vibe. Leon would be whoever's available between Kevin Bacon and Ethan Hawke.
Oh,
Yeah,
Kevin
it's
Bacon's.
gotta be
That's
Bacon.
a show.
Who's the
That's
guy
a
at
really good
Homefront
show.
though? Because Andy Kelly works on CBT.
Oh yeah,
did that
oh
face
man,
swap.
that's
He took
scary. Yeah.
Damien
what
Lewis?
is his
No,
name? Damien
Damien
Lewis.
Yeah, like he did a face swap where he took Damien Lewis's
yeah.
face and put it on my head, and no one noticed.
Yeah, Damien Lewis. That's a really good show.
Okay. Ben, I think the producers would be inclined to hear your voice and then go Jason Statham straight away, because that's the only sort of Hollywood
All right,
actor
mate.
that they could.
Okay, cool, brilliant.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's cool. Do you know, I actually went to the same school as Jason Statham, so that is a
you?
very weird coincidence that you've chosen him. I mean, he was many years ahead of me, but yeah.
Fancy that. Joel, Chris Pine. Star Trek's Chris Pine,
Obviously.
I reckon. Meeks, I've got Daniel Stern, who...
What, the Home Alone guy?
Yeah.
What?
I see a bit of Daniel Stern in you, and
Which
I think
one was he?
He's the taller. He's Joe Pesci's.
It was him on Macaulay Culkin. So
That actually sort of works.
Yeah, maybe Matt.
He's
Culkin,
way too tall, but
yeah. But I think we need a good blend of characters here, and I think we're hitting on something. I've gone into the art team and Emma. If anyone.
No, yeah, do it. Come on, it's good.
Oh, this is bad now. So Emma, I've gone with Alison Pill, who is
that works.
in Goon.
Yeah, she is her. She looks exactly like her. It's freaky.
I think she's also in
She's
forgotten
in the
Lindsay
Newsroom.
Lohan movie,
Isn't she
Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen.
Isn't she the girlfriend that Scott Pilgrim has to fight out of the evil exes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone I know in life who has a better, a closer doppelganger. It's
a
scary.
doppelganger.
A doppelganger.
Andy, I've gone with Will Yun Lee, who plays Wei Shen.
Yeah, that's
in
because
Sleeping Dogs, because hear me out. Because I was playing Sleeping Dogs preview code ages ago. Andy wandered into the demo room and was like, "That guy looks like me." And I was like, "Oh yeah, he does a bit." There we go.
he's also about 20 years too old, but there you go.
Daniel Stern must be pushing 60 now.
Yeah. That's true.
MILF, I've gone with Willem Dafoe, and I don't know if I've gone mad with that one, but it just seemed right in my head.
Yeah, no, I don't really see that. Can't believe I'm a 60-year-old.
All right, so who is your choice to play you?
Because he's small and he's Scottish Ronnie Corbett.
You're offended by Daniel Stern.
He's about 80 now as well.
Decided to be Ronnie Corbett.
So
James McAvoy then.
So not Jimmy Cranky.
That would James McAvoy's quite,
Joel?
I had Chris Pine down as well, just because 2 people in the space of a week. So
I just thought you actually do look like Chris Pine. I've only just noticed that.
Like a not as good looking version of Chris Pine. Leon's Kevin Bacon, obviously.
Say that Damien Lewis. That was my. For who was going to play me and Kevin Bacon?
I've got a man who is on Twitter, my mate Naveed, tweeting Nav, who's spent 10 years telling me I'm the spitting image. I don't think I am, not just because he's a big man, of John Goodman. He's absolutely obsessed with the idea.
You really don't look anything like John Goodman at all.
So John Goodman in his Flintstones movie costume would suit me. Last question.
This movie has to be made. It has to be.
Wait, who's Phil?
Oh yeah, Phil. Who is you?
Did you not do yourself? Because that's the question. The question is
Who would play each of you? I just went with
Yeah,
everyone
but
else.
like each.
I don't know.
Well, we've got to answer for Phil then.
I'm going Gosling, the ultimate compliment.
Come on now.
That's nice.
I'm going to go the guy who plays Theon Greyjoy just to wind you up. Because you don't know what Game of Thrones.
It's just noises. Theon Greyjoy.
He
sounds.
Did we know you had a new nickname yesterday?
I reckon.
We decided we were going to
Oh yeah, Leon Greyjoy. Yeah.
Yeah, I came up with Leon Greyjoy for you.
I haven't even got that far in the series. I've no idea.
Yeah,
what
he's in there from the start.
He's like the.
You don't look like
he's
him. He's really ugly.
He's a young guy that hangs around with the Starks. Like he's adopted by the Starks.
Oh, the Iron goes back to the Iron Kingdom.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right. Is he the guy that looks
reckon-
like Peter Stormare? The one with the scar across his
No,
face?
of course not.
The one who doesn't know it's his sister until it's too late.
Yeah, till he's rubbed her up a
Spoilers.
bit. I reckon Gyllenhaal for you. I'm going Jake.
Oh yeah, that's good. That is good. No, Maggie.
Like a younger
Maggie.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Who's the guy you got?
Nice.
The Prison Break guy you got quite sad. Someone said.
Oh, Teabag from Prison
Yes,
Break.
that's
Sure,
it.
yeah, that's. I get that one a lot. I get the full spectrum.
Actually, I can see that.
Yeah, I get the spectrum.
Good. I'm glad we found an
Gosling
actor.
to Teabag in 30 seconds.
We'll get in touch with his agent tomorrow. Last question. Given that this is the 50th episode of the podcast, what will each of you be doing when you turn 50? Leon.
Oh, sorry, Leon.
I honestly don't know. I'd like to say making games, but then I've said that for the last 10 years. So
You are making a game though. And
I am
it's good.
making a
I
game
mean,
now, yeah,
I don't
but-
know what's under NDAs and things at the moment. As the lead QA on this project, I can say
As a self-designated lead
that
QA on
it's,
this project.
that it's
Community
immersive,
manager.
it's visceral.
It's got brutal melee takedowns.
Absolutely. No, it's really good. Leon's really. Well, you showed me that animation of the seed. Let's say seeds are involved somewhere along the game, and it's
It's not about impregnation or anything.
no. Not yet.
I-
But again, as lead QA,
We're not talking about that
its
right
feature
now.
set is not complete.
Yeah,
That's it.
absolutely.
Joel?
I had written on my script, which I've left back at the office, just dead. In
Oh, Joel.
letters.
Die young. Yeah.
So probably dead.
Well, that is a cheery answer. Phil?
I will be in a house in the woods, eating cat food and writing insane...
With Joel's dead body.
writing insane novels that no one will write, and I'll be perfectly happy.
Didn't we have a discussion about getting a cabin in the woods and eating cat food?
That's my genuine ambition in life, is just to
You
earn
really
just
could do
enough
that
money.
quite easily.
Can't you
to
just
earn a cabin.
upgrade slightly to like a can of tuna?
I just prefer the taste of the cat food, and I think it's probably...
Yeah, we've had this conversation. It was quite depressing.
The idea of like once a month you go into town, just buy like a big bag of cat food.
40 cans of cat food. I'm getting out of here.
It's the cat food man's bag.
Like old lady.
Oh, this is going to be quite the answer.
This answer is going to paint me in such an unflattering light. It'll make me look like some weird, creepy loner who should be ostracised from all of society.
Does it involve marrying
You've never said
someone?
anything like that before, so I can't imagine how that's going to happen.
So I don't know if you've seen the Futurama episode where Fry gets a Lucy Lou bot, because the technology in the future now lets you like download any celebrity to like a sex bot. So I'll be happily married to season 1 Rachel, who's our robot. Yeah,
I guess so.
Yeah, from
What a
Friends.
weird shout.
I don't know if I can just talk anymore.
I feel like the podcast should now just have like 5 minutes of silence to let everyone think about that.
Paint me on unflattering light.
What?
I don't even know what part of your brain you can pluck that image from.
Season 1, Rachel Green.
Yeah, the best
not
Rachel.
even the best.
Wasn't she hottest in like season 3 when she had her hair? And
What if you could only like torrent like
Do you
season
know-
2?
It's the bottom of season 1.
Do you know the story about her costume, the way she used to accentuate her costumes? She'd wear a normal bra, but she would cut holes around her. I don't know why I've shown you physically how to do that. She would cut holes around the nipples, so that she would. That's why in like every series of Friends, you always see her nipples, because she would still wear a bra to make herself pert, but she would.
She'd wear peephole bras.
Peephole bras, yes, that is a true story.
Wow. It's really exploited. I don't know who's been exploited though. Is it us or was it her?
It was her choice.
Was it her choice? Was it?
Yes.
The aim of the
Meeks
exercise.
is standing there cutting her bras open in the dressing room.
Meeks is patching the sex bot for all the unofficial mods.
I don't know.
I would like
Holeless bras, please.
I'd like 3 children, 3 books, probably one on Meeksy's sex bots, and hopefully at least 3 friends. 3 friends.
I worry that now
everyone wants a sex bot.
I worry
You're
that
going to
now
be killed by his sex bot.
No, I'm going to be in court going, yes, I do know him, Your Honour. I'm afraid I could see this coming. I should have done more to prevent it.
And in the evidence,
It surely can't be a
it's just
crime
like
to kill your
broom
sex
with a
bot.
mask on.
Now that really would be the worst birthday ever. And that is sadly the end of our 50th birthday episode. But in classic Top of the Pop style, Phil is now going to play us out with his a cappella version of Goodbye by the Spice Girls.
What? Which one's Goodbye?
The one that says goodbye.
My friend.
Phil knows it. Mix knows it.
That's like the only Spice. Can I do Viva Forever? I'll be waiting. Everlasting. Do they? That was not in the script.
Oi.
Was it in the script?
We'll be back to
Unbelievable.
something approaching normality in August to talk PS4, Watch Dogs, Need for Speed Rivals, and more. In the meantime, as ever, you can keep up with the team on Twitter at OPM_UK, Facebook at facebook.com/official PlayStation Magazine, or on the internet at officialplaystationmagazine.co.uk. Today's producer was James. He's our JJ and will cry if we want him to, Jarvis. And issue 87 is out now with a more beautiful than Ygritte from Game of Thrones PS4 on the cover. Until next time, keep it official.